Good Monday morning. Welcome to First Mover, your first global look at today's action in the Bitcoin, blockchain, and digital asset space. I'm your host, Christine Lee, and joining me are my co-hosts, CoinDesk Managing Editor of Global Capital Markets, Lawrence Lewitinn, and Managing Director of International Content, Emily Parker. Good morning, you two. Happy Monday.
Good morning. Hi, happy Monday.
Catch some SNL?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. We'll ask about that later. All right, so checking in on Bitcoin, the CoinDesk Bitcoin price XBX index is currently trading at 57,600 and change. Bitcoin is up about 1.8% over the past 24 hours, and the CoinDesk Ether price ETX index is at 41.27. ETH on a tear, on a record-breaking surge. More on that with Lawrence. The most reliable reference prices for institutions since 2014 are now published under the CoinDesk brand, trusted globally as the leader in crypto news, events, and data. So, Lawrence, what's up with ETH?
Yes. Up 446, almost 500% now, year to date. I mean, think about that. It's 6 times its price what it was back in January. And it seemed like it was just a week ago it broke 3,000 because it was a week ago. Cargo Bully, of course, reported this morning that what's interesting to note is 8 million active addresses now going on in Ethereum. That's more than 7 million, a little more than 7 million back in 2018. And, I took a look at the ETH versus Bitcoin price. That's the price that people trade Bitcoin for ETH. It was at 0.03 Bitcoin back in March. It's now 0.07 Bitcoin. And if you went back to 2017 and you looked at ETH, the way it was trading against Bitcoin, it was 0.15 Bitcoin, right? That would translate today. If ETH traded at that price, that would be 8,700. Of course, it's a different market, different expectations, but that means that there might be, as long as Bitcoin even just stays the way it is right now, there might be some upside ahead is what some of the ETH investors or many of the ETH investors are betting on right now.
Yeah, and if you like volatility and heart-stomping movements, you might want to take a look at Doge. Doge over the weekend, Emily, with Saturday Night Live was also a crazy trip. Tell us about that.
Doge is known for defying expectations. So in the run-up to SNL, which was hosted by Elon Musk, who is probably the most famous Doge booster out there, people were expecting the moon, Doge to go to the moon. Doge, this might be the chance for Doge to reach $1 because, this was an opportunity for Elon Musk to introduce Doge and the concept of cryptocurrency in general to an audience of millions of people. In fact, the opposite happened. Doge crashed quite precipitously, and we don't really know why because we never really know what's going on with Doge. I mean, there are many theories out there. Some people tied to Musk's performance, some people just tied to speculation. But anyway, the moral of the story is anything can happen with Doge. It could soar up again, it could crash again, and we just don't know. And I guess that's sort of what makes it interesting.
Yeah, and I was saying, Emily, to me, it's a sentiment coin, and it's looking pretty frothy out there. All right, well, Mexico-based crypto exchange Bitso is now the first crypto unicorn in Latin America, with a valuation pegged at over $2 billion. Most recently, Bitso raised about $250 million in its Series C funding round. Joining us now to discuss is Bitso CEO Daniel Vogel. Welcome, Daniel.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Great to have you as always. All right, so Daniel, anything new and exciting in the Latin American market? How are people and corporations using crypto?
Absolutely. Look, there's as we've seen in the United States, there's been a significant interest from corporations to get into the space. People are starting to think of crypto as a store of value, the use of stable coins for their businesses, how to accelerate international transactions. And I think what we're seeing is just significant interest both from individuals and businesses alike into how can they rely on this technology for their day-to-day use. And I think one of the things that we're very focused on at Bitso is how do we make crypto useful and available to the region. And basically, we're very excited about the uses of crypto, much more than just the price of whether Doge is up or down or ETH is up 500% or not. I think what we're seeing is people starting to really understand the technology and start to think of, this could actually be useful for me. And I think that's exciting. And this fundraise is basically to push that forward.
Daniel, we heard last week that e-commerce giant Mercado Libre said that they bought $7.8 million worth of Bitcoin, putting it on their balance sheet. Did your platform help them in any way by any chance? And is this a trend among corporates?
Absolutely. So Mercado Libre is probably the most valuable company in Latin America, and it's obviously one of the big examples of entrepreneurship gone right in the region. We've talked to the Mercado Libre for a long time. We helped them understand a little bit of crypto, but we didn't actually execute the purchase. The purchase was executed with their holding company in the United States, and we're not allowed to operate in the United States because of regulatory reasons.
Hi, Daniel. So just to follow up on Christine's question about the Latin American market, in general, is Latin America just kind of following these global trends like Doge mania, ETH hitting all-time high? Or are there any unique circumstances, like coins that are doing particularly well in Latin America that have specific use cases that we're not seeing just following kind of the larger global market?
Yeah, so it's a great question. We obviously see and have a significant amount of customers that enjoy trading and are traders. If you look at actually our current coin offering, we're not well known for having hundreds of coins listed. I think we have 11 assets listed on the platform right now. But we obviously get customers who make requests, right? And we do have customers who are requesting things like Doge, etc. The thing that we do see that's very interesting is we've started over the last, I'd say, 6 months onboarding a significant amount of, for example, freelancers who are working out of their home countries, but in LATAM, but actually getting paid in stablecoins. And so we're starting to see a big demand for different types of stablecoins in the platform. And actually, one of the neat things that we've done at Bitso is, we have this concept of a US dollar balance, but you can fund it with a number of stable coins. And so we don't have books against a bunch of these stable coins. We basically just give you a US dollar balance when you fund stable coins. And what's interesting is seeing what stable coins are these freelancers getting paid in. And it used to be primarily DAI, and now we've seen a big shift to USDC. Interesting.
And just about your recent raise, can you tell us specifically how this money is going to be deployed and where the priorities are and what you're going to be using these funds for?
Absolutely. So two things primarily. We want to keep expanding into the region. We want to keep onboarding customers. So it took us about 6.5 years to onboard our first millionth customer. And then it took us a few months to get to our second millionth customer. And we just think that there's a huge opportunity onboarding more and more people in the region to this technology. And so a part of it is just going to be just continue to expand regionally in geographies. And so we currently operate in Mexico, Argentina, and Brazil. And we're looking at other countries. We just were cleared by the Colombian authorities to operate there. And there's other countries that are interesting. So part of the money is going to be used to continue to expand into these geographies. But I think a significant part of the funds is going to go into product expansion. So we're starting to see, we're starting to see a lot of customers hold dollar balances in the platform via stablecoins. And there's just a huge opportunity, in our opinion, to continue to connect these DeFi protocols that are phenomenal in providing financial services that in the region are just like unheard of. People here don't even know what interest is, what does it mean to have a savings account where I can bear interest? And we think there's a big opportunity to basically connect those protocols and make them very, very easy to access to folks in the region, and hopefully over time become more and more decentralized. But a big portion of the funds is going to go into product development.
So Daniel, you mentioned expansion markets, and you also said that you have regulatory reasons why you're not in the U.S., but nonetheless, are you looking to expand into the U.S.?
We haven't thought about the U.S. as an expansion target simply because there are players there that we feel like they're doing a phenomenal job and are competing with each other in good ways. And when we actually look at the region, we see very few players thinking about the region, expanding into the region, and wanting to do the work in the region. And so I think we're very, very, this entire concept of financial products built on top of crypto makes a lot of sense in a place like Latin America, where you have a big, big gap in the types of financial services that are available to end consumers, Whereas I lived 10 years in the United States, and actually I was very, very well served by my financial institution in the States. That's not the case in Mexico. That's not the case in Argentina. That's not the case in Brazil. And so there's a big, big opportunity to basically continue to just rethink how we build a financial system, but do it on top of crypto. That's what we're excited about. That's what we think is phenomenal. And the money that we raise is hopefully going to be used to make that vision a reality.
Daniel, I just want to return to a point that you made earlier about USDC. Why USDC? Why is USDC overtaking DAI, or why is that kind of shifting? Why is that trend happening? Why is it not USDT? And just why? Can you just give us also like a larger picture of the stablecoin boom in Latin America? Why is that such a thing there?
Sure. So if you look at the exchange rates of basically any local currency in Latin America against the US dollar, and you zoom out, you will basically see that currencies in LATAM have systematically lost value against the US dollar. And so, and it's actually, it's kind of hard as a retail customer to get access to US dollars. If you're a high net worth individual, super easy. The bank accounts will open you an account. You'll be able to have your US dollars, et cetera, et cetera. But, if you're straight out of college and you want to save in dollars, it's actually quite hard. No bank account in Mexico, for example, will open you an account in US dollars. And then suddenly you get the opportunity to be able to turn some of your savings into US dollars via crypto and have them in stable coins. And so there's like this big trend of store value. People have historically stored US dollars in the region for a really long time. They did that buying dollars at the airport, going to the US and taking dollars back into their countries, et cetera, et cetera. There's all these, like, if you go to Argentina, there's all these like black markets where you can access dollars. And actually the US dollar has different exchange rates, because there's like an official rate and like the market, the street rate, and it's a little bit crazy if you start sort of like understanding the landscape of store of value in the region. And I think that DAI had a big leg up over most other stablecoins simply because it made efforts in Latin America first. The DAI team, the maker team, did a really good job at coming to the region, like telling people what DAI was all about, and we do have a large number of customers holding DAI. But I think what's happened is that this trend of paying with stable coins has accelerated since the pandemic, and the fact that probably USDC has one of the easiest on-ramps, it has probably accelerated the use of USDC in the region. We do see a lot of use of USDT as well, but the rate of growth of USDC is just much larger than what any of these other stablecoins are doing.
Daniel, thank you for joining us this morning and telling us an update from Latin America, and congratulations on your latest funding round.
Thank you so much. A pleasure to speaking to all of you, and have a phenomenal week.
Great. All right, that was Bitso CEO Daniel Vogel in Mexico City. Coming up, the latest out of Asia and crypto markets analysis with AlphaPoint.
We are witnessing the greatest paradigm shift in finance in modern history. Join thousands of newsmakers and influencers talking the future of money at Consensus by CoinDesk. A live virtual experience of leaders, changemakers, virtual reality meetups, keynotes from Ray Dalio, Gary Vaynerchuk, and much more. Get an up-close look at the boom in crypto, the surge of institutional investment in Bitcoin, NFT mania, the breakneck innovation in decentralized finance, and the coming disruption from central bank digital currencies. Join us May 24th to May 27th for Consensus by CoinDesk.
Time now for the daily forecast, an update on what's happening in the Asia crypto markets. Here's Angie Lau of Forecast News.
Welcome to the Daily Forecast, May 10th, 2021. I'm Angie Lau. Let's get you up to speed from Asia to the world. Call it the Doge hangover. Investors left disappointed after Elon Musk's highly anticipated Saturday Night Live appearance. Dogecoin didn't quite reach the moon. Instead, it tanked by around 40% from a high of over 70 cents. But here in Asia, Doge, the original meme coin, had a historic weekend. SHETTY of WAZIRX says Doge adoption is getting serious.
It was Saturday in the US, Saturday night, but Sunday for us in India. And we saw, I think, over $100 million worth of Dogecoin was traded in the INR market alone. This is like the largest, I would say, that India has seen in a single market in a day.
And this hype over Dogecoin has birthed other furry friends, from the Shiba Inu coin to the cat token from Carol Baskins. A whole zoo is coming out of the meme token world. As for Doge, we saw some recovery post SNL, resuscitated in part due to a SpaceX announcement of Doge 1, a satellite mission to the moon, funded by what else but Dogecoin. If this weekend's hype has taught investors anything, it's that gravity is real. What goes up can also come down. All right, taking a look at how Bitcoin traded here in Asia, up 0.8% at around $58,500 as of 4 p.m. local Hong Kong time. And in the top 10 for cryptocurrencies, green across the board, with Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin leading the pack. Speaking of green, proof-of-stake blockchains are doing well today. Cardano up around 3%. Ethereum also phasing out mining in the future, extending its all-time high, running past $4,000, closing up at 4.1%. Meanwhile, the rapid growth of Bitcoin mining continues to raise concerns over cryptocurrencies' carbon footprint. Here in Asia, that concern is translating to ESG-focused investments, which, according to Stefan Roost of Sonic Capital, allows for more transparency and tradability associated with carbon offsets.
We're seeing a number of investments in this area across the world, and especially in Asia. You're seeing whole new blockchains come out to life that are having carbon neutral and being carbon zero for their whole footprint.
One of those investments coming from the Hong Kong Stock Exchange listed BC Group. The investment holding company is fully offsetting its last 3 years of operations through the purchase of voluntary carbon credits by its subsidiary OSL Exchange. It's a global trend. Today in Canada, 9 Point Partners unveiling the first 100% carbon offset Bitcoin ETF. Alex Tapscott, managing director of digital assets, says the move helps to satisfy the growing demand of investors in search of carbon neutral exposure to Bitcoin.
Some of the fears around Bitcoin's carbon footprint are a bit misguided. Turns out that almost half of the energy input for the network actually comes from renewables, but half of a big number is still a big number.
A big number, and still a long way to go, but certainly a step in the right direction. And I'll leave you with this. As the DCEP pilot program continues to expand in China, there is a new twist, and one not everyone might be comfortable with: biometrics. A new card-like DCEP wallet will come equipped with fingerprint authentication technology. IDEX Biometrics, a NASDAQ and Oslo-listed biotech company, along with Chutuan Dragon, a Chinese smart card manufacturer, will cooperate to work on this new DCEP wallet. While the companies involved say it will increase security, there's no doubt it might also increase privacy concerns by those already hesitant at the idea of a central-backed digital currency. And that's the Daily Forecast. I'm Angie Lau. Until the next time.
The Crypto Markets Update is presented by Grayscale, the world's largest digital currency asset manager.
Quick update on Bitcoin. The CoinDesk Bitcoin price XBX index is currently trading at $57,922. Bitcoin is up about 1.6% over the past 24 hours, and the CoinDesk Ether price ETX index is trading at 4163. ETH is shooting into the ether. It's up about almost 10% over the past 24 hours, all-time high around 4172. The most reliable reference prices for institutions since 2014 are now published under the CoinDesk brand, trusted globally as the leader in crypto news, events, and data. And joining us now to discuss the crypto markets is Igor Telyatnikov, co-founder and CEO of AlphaPoint, an exchange software provider. Welcome, Igor.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so maybe you can comment on what is driving ETH to these record levels, and then maybe you could touch on Doge as well.
Of course. Yeah, so I think we're still in the middle of a bull run here, right? That we've seen massive traction really starting at the end of last year. And really, we saw the Bitcoin price move first, and we're just moving into altcoin season now. We've seen much bigger gains in altcoins than in Bitcoin over the last several months. And if Ethereum's, hit their all-time high several times this quarter with 4,100 just last night. Dogecoin was, I think what happened there was people were buying the rumor and selling the news with the SNL appearance of Elon Musk. And a lot of people got into Doge before that event when it was rumored he was going to be be discussing Dogecoin on the show. And so I think that's where the price movement came on Dogecoin.
Do you think it'll be taken more seriously? People are, more in the mainstream. It's more acknowledgement. People are buying into it. Do you think it'll be used? Elon Musk wants to use it for a space mission on his next satellite with SpaceX.
I certainly think they have a lot of momentum on their heels, but Dogecoin was still started as a joke. The utility of it is not there like Bitcoin or Ethereum or major other projects that are out there. So in some ways, we see it as a bit of a sign of a bit of how frothy the market is, how many retail investors are coming on board. So we want to make sure that people are making wise decisions, and what goes up can certainly go down.
So everybody's been talking about Ether and Doge. What else is going on? Is there anything interesting happening in the alt market that you're paying attention to?
I mean, we've seen for the first time in many years that the altcoin volumes and the trading on these coins has gone and surpassed. Bitcoin doesn't have the dominance; it's less than 50% traded on the venues that we power around the world. There's a lot of different altcoins. I think last year was really the DeFi movement took on the mainstream, and really what people are seeing with yield, being able to buy DAI or stable coins in other countries and earn the types of yield that you're seeing. Nobody has access to those types of interest rates in their country. So we're seeing a lot of movement there. The projects that are powering decentralized finance, those coins are taking off. A lot of the coins that back major cryptocurrency exchanges, some of which we power as well, are taking off as well. So we've seen it's quite spread out. Definitely Doge has ruled the day, and in regions where only some cryptocurrency exchanges give access to Doge, they've seen record numbers. But really across the board, we've seen retail adoption skyrocket. I saw a number that 14% of U.S. residents have had access, or invested in crypto to date, and that's expected to double this year. And we've seen month over month doubling of our customers around the world, both in terms of volume, in terms of adoption, and user signups and onboarding.
Igor, your company, of course, changed quite a bit since the last run up in crypto back in 2018. How has it changed, and how has it prepared you, or has it prepared you for the current bull market?
Yeah, I think what it's prepared us for is just this, the bull market and the adoption. It's a different type of exchange that are brokerages that our customers operate. In traditional markets, you typically have members that are brokerages of the exchanges, and they handle that massive retail adoption of millions of users and simultaneous users. So that's really the challenge that AlphaPoint focuses on, is to make sure that when Doge has an event like it did over the weekend, customers are up online and the uptime is there. We saw Robinhood go down because of the event this weekend. That's a huge hit, publicity wise and in customer complaints. If an asset is skyrocketing or moving down, to not being able to get in and out of the market. So that's really where our company has been focused, is making sure that our customers can scale. They're onboarding tens of thousands of users a day. And the systems and backend that you need for that is quite different than in capital markets, which they're focused on throughput and transactions per second, not so much mass retail adoption, which a lot of our customers are experiencing.
Now you're still doing the white label exchange kind of stuff, right? Correct?
Yeah, our core business is we power marketplaces, so exchanges, brokerages, OTC desks, liquidity providers. So we help them with the back-end matching engine, order management system, the front-end trading screens, and all of the administration. And then our customers then customize their front end, their experience, their brand, and we can also host, or our customers can host that technology. So depending on the customer, we do both.
And then how do you go up against the Binances of the world?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult for anybody to go up against the Binances. I think there's differentiation in the local markets. Binance can't be everywhere. Same as Coinbase, right? Coinbase is dominant in the US and not dominant abroad. So I think by region, there's hundreds of countries. We've powered over 150 marketplaces around the world. We're also bringing other products to market to help our customers keep their customers sticky, offering a yield platform. So customers that deposit and want to access digital assets, they now can leave their assets on the system and earn yield for those assets. We're going to be interconnecting DeFi so that customers can more simply interact with the DeFi applications that are out there right on their exchange. So you don't need to figure out how to move into DAI and then move into a Binance chain token and trade on earn yield on PancakeSwap to get utility. It'll kind of all be a simplified version that a retail user can experience. We're trying to bridge that gap for customers.
Mass adoption is certainly spreading. Thank you, Igor, for joining us this morning. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that was AlphaPoint co-founder and CEO Igor Telyatnikov. Coming up, blockchain domains for the future, plus CoinDesk Global Policy and Regulation Managing Editor Nick Day. Welcome back. Time to check in with CoinDesk Global Policy and Regulation Managing Editor Nick Day, who is also the editor of CoinDesk's The State of Crypto newsletter. Hello, Nick. All right, so like everyone else, Elon Musk hosting SNL is what everyone's talking about. I'm sure you watched SNL over the weekend too. So before the show, he tweeted, "Cryptocurrency is promising, but invest with caution." At any point, did he cross the line on the show in terms of what could be considered giving investment advice?
Not sure if we could say that. I mean, he talked about cryptocurrency. There was an entire weekend update segment where he was, playing a cryptocurrency expert, and he was making jokes about it going to the moon and how it's going to be the future of finance. I'm not sure if if anyone would see that as investment advice. I'm sure there are probably a couple folks who will, but he wasn't phrasing it as recommending it as an investment, just more, it's SNL's doing jokes and skits. He was jokingly talking about how, this is a thing, and repeatedly asked about Dogecoin and just saying it's a cryptocurrency. It does stuff.
Nick, why do you think the price crashed so bad? Do you think it had anything to do with his performance, or do you think that's just some other market thing that didn't even, he could have said anything and the same thing would have happened?
Yeah, I'm not sure. So as far as I can tell, I took a quick look at the price charts on Friday when it was crashing. So it actually began crashing well earlier on Saturday. It definitely tanked hard after SNL began, and it doesn't look like the various mentions. There were at least 3 mentions of crypto, 2 specifically of Dogecoin on the show. It doesn't look like those helped boost the price. But yeah, it appears that someone decided to sell, or a couple of people decided to sell right as the show was beginning, either as a signal or just because the timing worked out. But I think the price it recovered a little bit on Sunday, but definitely down from its highs of above 70 cents.
Hey, Nick, regulatory wise, what are we seeing going on in Ether, and anything else interesting this coming week?
Yeah, so on Friday, VANECK, which is a company that provides ETFs and has filed for numerous Bitcoin ETFs over the years, announced it was filing for an Ether ETF. It has an SEC filing sitting before the securities regulator, and it wants to try and launch the US's first ETHEREUM-based exchange-traded fund. Of course, VANECK has one of the Bitcoin ETF applications that are currently being reviewed by the SEC, along with a handful of other companies.
How many ETFs do we know of there right now in front of the SEC?
That's just the only one as far as I know, but there have been several in Canada that were approved earlier this year. I think there's 4 Ether ETFs currently trading. So, I'm not sure whether the SEC is going to be, as interested in the Ether ETF as it is in a potential Bitcoin ETF this year, but there's definitely some momentum there. I think I understand where VANECK's coming from when they filed for it, because if any year is the year to try, it would be this year.
Yeah, Canada's on top of it. Thanks for the update, Nick.
Thank you.
That was CoinDesk Managing Editor of Global Policy and Regulation, Nick Day. Don't forget to sign up for the State of Crypto newsletter on CoinDesk.com.
The CoinDesk Spotlight is brought to you by Nexo, the place to earn on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and more.
Unstoppable Domains will announce their integration with the Brave web browser this week. Unstoppable Domains allows anyone to purchase a decentralized domain name that is minted as an NFT on the Ethereum blockchain. You can replace long wallet addresses with simple, readable names. Joining us now to discuss is Unstoppable Domains co-founder Brad Kam. Welcome, Brad, to the show.
Thank you so much. And just a quick correction, that's actually Opera Browser.
Opera Browser, pardon me. First, perhaps you could give us an update on what is Unstoppable Domains. Explain it and break it down. How do people use it? How is it different from what people use now?
Sure. So Unstoppable Domains builds domain names on blockchains. And so domain names are NFTs. They're NFTs on Ethereum. They are stored inside of your crypto wallet, which is very different than a traditional domain, which is stored inside of GoDaddy or some other registrar. And what that means is that the registrar can make updates for you or move it around or get hacked and you can lose your domain. So just like we used to store our money in banks and now we can store money inside of crypto wallets, you used to store domains inside of kind of domain banks, and now you can store them yourself. And this is a better security model, just like cryptocurrencies themselves.
Yeah, you can use them as domain names like when you're browsing Opera, but Google's not crawling those. So how do people find you using those domains?
So this is early days, I mean, it's kind of like rewind to like 1996 internet days. So this is, what some people call Web3. And what Opera Browser did, Opera Browser is 10% of all internet traffic, I believe. So it's a big step, but it is an early step, as you say, for decentralized websites, which is that they're just now getting adoption. And I would say 2020 has been kind of the year that they've come to market. And I think this is the case, almost with many different types of NFTs that are getting popular. Like we're just now seeing mainstream adoption. And then when you see a browser that's been around for 20 years, like Opera Browser, go and integrate Ethereum and go and support a technology like this, it's just one more sign of how many different communities blockchain technology is touching right now.
So Brad, let's step back for a second and explain, what does it mean to be integrated within the Opera browser? How does it work? And why does it matter to even the average person?
So I have a domain, brad.crypto. You can type in brad.crypto and you can go and check out my website, just like it was a .com. You don't need to do anything else other than type it in. And this is the first time that a major browser has supported a domain name system that was not part of DNS and not part of ICANN. And the reason why this is important and this is exciting, even though this is early days, is because this is enabling users to be able to control what they do online. And so I'm sure a lot of listeners out there have watched The Social Dilemma. This kind of technology is an antidote to that. I control my domain name. I control my own access. I control my own data, and then I can decide what to do with it instead of companies. And this is going to make a better, safer, more secure internet.
And to be sure that when you say you could do that on Opera at brad.crypto, you can't do that, let's say, on Chrome right now, correct? Nothing.
Not yet natively. You can use extensions or you can use resolvers and things like that. But I think what you should expect to see is that crypto forward applications are going to be embracing decentralized websites before mainstream applications like Chrome. And as this market builds, then I'm sure mainstream apps are going to support it too. It's just like any other market inside of crypto. It starts on the fringes and then it moves into the mainstream.
So my understanding of this is one of the motivations is to be able to combat censorship. Can you give us have there been any real world examples of how this has been used to fight censorship or something that's been uncensorable?
So I think the best way to think about it is more in terms of users being in control. So for example, GoDaddy was hacked in November of 2020. It was a social engineering hack where somebody was able to convince the employees to hand them control of a domain name. And that was the result of this technology working the way it does. There's also cases like, for example, the .ly registry, which is technically controlled by, or the policies are set by the Libyan government. And they were taking down websites in Canada because they violated Libyan law. So because of the way DNS works today, we have all of these strange problems. And if we put users in control, we get rid of all of the politics and all of the other baggage that's been going along with our current internet. France.com was taken away by the buyer because France, the country, wanted it. So it all comes down to custody, just like any other crypto asset. Having custody is what it means to have true ownership. And there's no subscriptions. There's no worry about what the registry, us, could do in the future. Very different than a traditional domain name system too.
Are there any
so is
limits?
the idea that they actually could not be taken down? Like if you know, it's impossible to take it down because the user has control?
The domain name is controlled and stored inside of the user's cryptocurrency wallet. So if you wanted to go and make an update to a website, you would need to get control of that private key. Now, what's going to happen in terms of filtering, if you're concerned about moderation or filtering of content, applications like browsers are going to decide not to show certain websites in order to comply with certain laws. But the difference is that the content itself wouldn't disappear. The record is still on the blockchain.
All right.
Right. But what if it's content? What if it's just like hate speech or inciting violence? I mean, that's something that still would not be able to be taken down?
It's identical to the way that the current internet works, where applications will filter and moderate. The difference is that it's going to be actually easier for them to cooperate. So what happens right now is that Facebook in a silo decides what's okay to say and what's not okay to say on the internet, as does YouTube, and there's no sharing and there's no scaling of that effort. So it's actually harder for applications to moderate more broadly. If you have a blockchain-based record and you can identify that it's a dangerous one, it'd be very easy to share that across thousands or hundreds of thousands of applications. So I think you're going to wind up getting a lot more. When you have more user control, you're also going to have more user control over moderation. So what it's going to really mean is that you're going to have more control over what you're seeing.
Web3, everyone. Thank you, Brad, for your update and sharing with us all about your unstoppable domains.
Thank you.
All right, that was Unstoppable Domains co-founder Brad Kam. Time now to check in with Crypto Twitter with our tweet of the day. This one from Techno King of Tesla and Imperator of Mars, Elon Musk, tweeting, SpaceX launching satellite Doge 1 to the moon next year, mission paid for in Doge, first crypto in space, first meme in space to the moon. I'm sure our colleagues at The Hash will have a fun time breaking that down for us. All right, that's it for our First Mover. Thank you, Emily Parker, our CoinDesk Managing Director of International Content, and Lawrence Lewitinn, Managing Editor of Global Capital Markets. I'm your host, Christine Lee. I'll be back live at 3 p.m. with All About Bitcoin. Coming up at noon is The Hash. You're watching CoinDesk TV.